Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 5 Tips and Tricks for Careers in Athletics. I am your host, Dr. Maury Mosvitz, with my all-time, most favorite, best of all-time co-host, Jen Albanese. Welcome, Jen.
Hello, Maury. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. We are back.
We are back.
Yeah.
So, what's going
on?
I was preparing for today, and I thought going into recording about something that you don't, and we know a lot about each other, like a lot.
We do. Almost too much sometimes.
Probably.
I'm just kidding.
People at work don't like that we know each other as well as we do because we spend a lot of time together. That I played intramural volleyball in college.
Stop it.
Shocking, right?
Okay, first of all, that is extremely shocking. Okay. Why? Why was volleyball a choice?
You know my friend Melanie?
Yes, of course.
Yes. So she was a volleyball player in high school, and she's like, she just wanted to continue playing volleyball. So she got a whole bunch of us recruited to go put together an intramural volleyball team. I never even really played volleyball before that. It was really ugly. God. It was definitely an interesting experience. We bought t-shirts, of course, like I helped organize, like getting the t-shirts made and everything. That was the most I had to contribute, was the organization of
that was like your first opportunity and experience of being a director of ops, basically, like a manager.
Kind of. I was already doing lacrosse stuff at the time. They were in real need. Like when I came in, I had to whip them into shape really early on with men's lacrosse. They'll admit to that as well.
Oh, they definitely will.
Yeah. I was like making them march very early on as a freshman. We were talking about a student the other day, actually, that's like, they're probably a little bit above their skis. I was definitely that kid. And all my high school coaches are going to listen to this and definitely
no one's surprised. No one is surprised, Maury. But we are surprised that you played volleyball.
Exactly. I thought I would shock you by that.
That is shocking.
I know. I was no good. And then Melanie tore her ACL, and then it all went really downhill. So it was like unfair.
Tore it while she was playing?
While we were playing volleyball, and then we were trying to carry her back to the dormitory. Like there was a very rough period of time. The memories of volleyball were not super fond, but I did do it. And with our guest today, it made me think about that. So.
Oh, that's funny. Did you actually ever hit the ball? Like, did you get it over the net ever?
I don't think I got a point off of anything. Like I might have luckily got it over the other side, but I definitely didn't score on anything.
See, yeah, like for me, I never did volleyball because I was shorter, so it just didn't work for me. Even though I could have been what's like the libero, is that the short one? Yeah,
yes, libero. That's the defensive specialist.
Yeah, that wasn't it. So my shocking thing, I guess I'll tell you. I don't know. Maybe you know this. I played basketball in high school.
No clue. I knew you danced. I knew you were on the dance team, so I would have thought that's what you would have done.
I played basketball for a portion of high school, and then I was on my cheerleading team in high school, and then I danced in college. But basketball, again, you wouldn't think, because I'm short, you wouldn't think I'd play basketball, but I was actually pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, I was the point guard. And
the point guard? I thought you were power forward.
Center. I did the jump ball.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, so I actually really liked it, and it was a lot of fun, but then it got like super, super competitive, like as you got older. And I was like, I'm going to go do cheerleading, because that was more me, and that was so much fun, and I loved cheering. But basketball was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And
would not have guessed that was one of the sports that you did.
Yeah, people never guess it because I'm so short. They're like, oh no, why would you play basketball? Like, that's crazy. But it was fun. So, we shocked each other today, Maury.
Was it Scottie Pippen? He was like the short.
No, Muggsy Bogues.
That was my favorite player.
Couldn't
he jump his own height or something? I don't remember.
I used to. That's the only reason I had the Charlotte Hornets starter jacket.
Was because of Muggsy Bogues?
Because of Muggsy Bogues, because he was the short basketball player. So
there you go.
Shout out to Muggsy Bogues.
Yes.
You want to come on the podcast?
We're all over the sports spectrum today.
Hey, well, you know what? I'm excited about it. It's fun time.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get into having an awesome volleyball guest today, and she'll be right back after this break. If you're enjoying this podcast, please follow us on your favorite podcast streaming service. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast is a part of Athletic Career Consulting, a group focused on educating and guiding high school and college students looking towards careers in athletics. To find out more, go to our website at www.athcareer.com. That's ATHCAREER.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. All right, Maury, let's introduce our guest.
Today, we're thrilled to dive into a journey of a highly accomplished head women's volleyball coach. She began her athletic career as a standout player in high school, winning 2 New York State titles and earning the 2008 New York State Player of the Year award. Following this success, she played for Syracuse University from 2008 to 2011, where she contributed to the team with 3 trips to the Big East tournament and earned recognition on the Big East All-American team 5 times. After graduating with a bachelor's degree in advertising in 2012, she took her skills overseas, playing professionally in Finland and helping her team find success. From 2013 to 2018, she served on the coaching staff at Syracuse, including 3 seasons as the associate head coach. During her tenure, she helped the Orange achieve their first ever NCAA tournament appearance in 2018. In 2019, she took the helm as the head coach of the Cortland Red Dragons. Entering her 6th season in 2004, she has a remarkable record of 99-25 over 4 seasons. Under her leadership, the Red Dragons have claimed 3 SUNY tournaments and regular season titles and made 3 NCAA Division III tournament appearances. Her coaching excellence has earned her numerous accolades, including SUNY Coach of the Year honors in 2021, 22, and 23, as well as an AVCA Region 3 Coach of the Year award in 2021. Notably, in 2021, she led her team to a 27-4 record, capturing both the SUNY regular season and tournament titles while advancing to the NCAA second round. This success continues with her team finishing 22-6 in 2002 and 26-4 in 2003, each time winning conference titles, making NCAA tournament runs. We are really excited to welcome Erin Glickert to the, I don't know if I said your name right, because I remember you as Little.
I know. It's a mouthful. The new one is a mouthful. It doesn't flow off the tongue like Little did.
Little was super easy back then. Erin, thank you so much for coming. We're so excited, and we're so excited that you've been so successful over at Cortland.
You're crushing it. Erin, you are crushing it.
Well, thank you guys. When you say it all in one sentence, long sentence like that, it sounds, it sounds like a lot there. But thank you for having me, and even just honored you guys would think of me to speak on this, and to speak to students that are interested to get into careers and fields in athletics and coaching. So I'm pumped to be here and just get to reconnect with you guys because it's been too long.
I know. You're not far down the street, but we don't get to see you that much, which is the sad part about it.
I know. That is the thing. Like now with, kids and coaching, it does take up a lot of your time, but it's all good things. So
it's good to reconnect, though. This is great.
We had the ability to see you as a student athlete, but then your coaching career, where I loved working with you as a coach. I just thought that.
So did I. I loved working with you too.
It was so great to just talk to you. You really understand things, and so when we were talking about people we wanted to be on the podcast and represent coaching, you were like a top candidate for us because you have such great experience. You look at things from a player's perspective, but also just looking at volleyball and people that want to get involved with the coaching aspect of it. We thought you'd be a great person to connect.
And we were selfishly like, we really want to see Erin. So
that's true too.
I was like, I just kind of want to talk to Erin.
I was like, yes, I love it. And I can't wait to talk.
Yeah, this is great.
So before we dive into your tips, what really made you want to go into coaching before, doing anything? You were in advertising, you were looking at other things in life.
I think even from when I was younger, back in like high school, my coaches were always the most impactful people in my life. And when you love sports, you love to compete, like you kind of always consider that as a natural next step. And, I think I went into college. Honestly, at first I was thinking communications, like, oh, I like sports. I'll do sports broadcasting. Right. And then I quickly realized too, that I like being on the other side of it, not the here looking at sports and all the other sports. I was like, honestly, I just love volleyball. I want to be a part of it. I love being a part of teams. And after college, I just, I still wanted to be in that kind of environment, which, led me to the playing career after, and then, kind of naturally making a step into coaching as well. I couldn't get enough of it.
And it doesn't seem like it's left you yet, though.
No, it hasn't.
That's not a bad thing. That's good.
No, it's an awesome thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
So what would be your first tip for somebody that's looking to get involved?
Yeah. So, kind of thinking through these, the first one I kind of thought of just even like that initial step that I was making into coaching, was to gain and take every experience that you can, even if it's unpaid, or even harder if you have to pay to get that experience. Because in some ways I did both in a lot of things that I did. When I started coaching, I was a volunteer coach. So I got a job at a coffee shop in the morning, got highly caffeinated, and then made my way to the gym and was, running on caffeine and fumes, but, learning a lot. So, I still, as I was thinking about this, I still remember like there was an opportunity I had that just kind of came up. I met a coach at a tournament we were playing, maybe even like right after I finished college. And she asked if I want to be a demonstrator for a coaching clinic, like this art of coaching volleyball. And I was thinking about, I was like, oh man, okay, I got to drive all the way there. It was like out of state. I had to figure out housing. It was unpaid. And at the time I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can swing it. It was too much to think about. But now I look back at those kind of opportunities, and I took more, but that was one that I think about still. Man, I wish I would have just put myself in that position, taken the time, figured it out. At that time, life was a lot easier than it is now, but
doesn't seem that way when you're there, though.
Right? I know, but you just you take the opportunity to build relationships with people, like get involved. I could have been on the court with some great coaches and just learned from them, which is how you learn. So, that would be the first thing I'd say is, I'm thankful for a lot of the opportunities I did take, coaching camps, going out and learning. But like in those, always be the person too, to ask, how can I help? You want to go be involved, do a great job. Like that's always going to put your name, at the top of the list of somebody that's like, hey, we need a coach here, or coaches reach out all the time of, I'm looking for an assistant, or I'm looking for somebody to help me here. And that's one of the best ways to do it, to start.
So I'm guessing you like see people at camp and you're saying, hey, like this person's been really pretty dynamic, and you get a phone call from someone like, hey, I'm looking for someone. Do you have any idea? And
Definitely.
like, is that how you start connecting them? Like, how does it seem to work for you and your experience?
There's just, camps is one thing over the summer when in coaching it's lighter, or in some fields it's lighter. Right. And it's, you can go out, you can work another college that'll have you. One summer, I think it was shortly after I finished, I graduated, but I went to visit a friend. I reached out to the University of Texas, because they host great camps. A coach had recommended like, hey, reach out, see if you can coach your camps. At first it was like, oh, we're full. So I made the trip down to visit a friend anyway. And then like 2 days before I was about to leave, they said, hey, we need a coach. Like, any way you can swing it? So I was down there. At that point, I figured it out, like went and coached like a week of camp. But like, I just met so many different coaches there that like, it was so funny. Throughout my coaching career, I've been in contact with them, or I've seen them coaching at other schools. And like, you already have that base. Like, I think coaching camp, or sometimes when you have to do a lot of the nitty gritty work, you just really get to know people on a deeper level. You're like, oh man, we've coached for 12 hours a day for 5 days straight,
You see what they're really made of, like what they're capable of, that hands-on experience. We always say that. And it's not necessarily always just for coaching too. It can be for really any, area within sports, especially coaching though, which makes a lot of sense. Like that real world hands-on experience, that's where you learn the most. So that's so important. I love that one.
It's definitely a good tip for someone that wants to get into coaching and not sure like how to make those connections, how the whole system works, because you're from the other side as a player, as you said, and now here's how you kind of make your next connection into that world.
Yeah. And you just start to get to see too, like, I've heard some people on your podcast talk about like work for people that you really want to learn from. And that's so true too. Like you start to see as a player wanting to be a coach, like, man, who do I want to learn from? And, getting to do that, like you get just a little taste of getting to meet a lot of people. So it's like a kind of a two-way street there for sure.
Oh, I love that you said you heard that on our podcast. Oh my God. That's like the cute. I love that.
That made Jen's day. Thank you.
Oh my God. That's so true though. I love it.
So that other people can hear wonderful things coming in from you on the podcast. What's your second tip?
Yes. So my next one is say yes to the things that both excite you and maybe scare you a little bit, because I've found like that's where growth happens. At first, a first big one for me was making a shift in my mentality and ownership of my playing career. And it takes a while. Like, and some of it's maturity, some of it's like starting to step into it and see the other side of it. Like, if I had to assess myself as a player, what would my strengths be? What would my weaknesses be? So like I wrapped up my senior year there at Syracuse, and I decided I wanted to continue to play professionally overseas. And I trained, I found coaches that would just let me in their gym. I, worked with the trainers after the fact of like, hey, how can I rehab my shoulder? Found some strength coaches that, were willing to kind of help me build back my base. So it just like, I've worked with an agency that basically was like, all right, hey, we'll try to help you. They found a team in Finland that were basically like, hey, you can pay for a flight out here. You can try out. And if you make it, you'll stay. We'll sign a contract. If not, then you just fly home. And it was like a week later. I was volunteer coaching at Syracuse because I hadn't found anything yet. So that first month I was coaching and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to be in the gym still. I don't know what's next, but like I'm still into this. So I flew over and made the team. I stayed for the season and competed. And I just found in that time I had a ton of growth and like really started to learn what accountability of self as a student athlete can look like, and how I could help build that for my student athletes, like through my real experience in the future. Because I'd been there. I'd been in all walks of life. I'd been injured. I'd been not playing. I'd been, playing a little bit. I've been doing this. So really like taking that moment and like opportunities to just, all right, man, this is scary, but I'm just going to go do it. And like people after graduation, the favorite question is, so what are you doing next?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go try to play overseas and I don't have anything yet. And I'm just going to keep doing it. And, but it really, I find things like that. And it's even just in everyday things now in coaching, like, saying yes to this, like, I actually don't like public speaking. And like, usually most times I'm like, even if it's like a big group of my team, I'm like, all right, okay, I can do this. But it's when I talk about things I care about too, like I tend to get emotional. So I'm like, I'd rather not.
Well, you're doing great. You're doing fantastic.
Great. Thank you. Yeah.
I think one of the things that's most dynamic is like, I don't think most people think about yourself as the first person you coach, right? Like that perspective of like people like, well, I have to be, working with this group of people or doing this to get that experience. And, you don't really think about it, that you have a person all the time that you can build this skill with. And it's yourself.
Oh,
it's reflecting, it's looking at things, and then taking that into the world of working with others is such a different skill that I don't think most people think about. Like I really didn't think about it until you just said it.
No. And then it just makes you relatable. Like you were saying, like, I've been injured, I've played, I've not played. Then you can relate to your student athletes that you're coaching who are in those situations. And then they can feel like they can talk to you and you can help them through whatever challenges that they may be facing because you've been there, you've been in their shoes. And that, I think that sets you apart too, because other coaches or other folks might not be able to relate to that. So like having that experience is I feel like a real big advantage as a coach, that you're a player and now you're a coach. So
yeah, we talk about that a lot in our team of just like doing things that are uncomfortable on purpose, and using that as opportunities to grow and seeing mistakes as not failure, but like, okay, all right, I didn't get it that time. Cool. Let's make a new game plan. What do I got to do next?
Yeah,
awesome.
Exactly.
You're killing it. See, you don't have to
I
worry
know.
about it.
Nothing to be worried about.
Okay, so going to the next one, number 3. Am I on
Yes.
it, Jen? 3?
Yes, number 3. We're on 3.
Love it. Number 3. Yeah. So next, like I'll speak more to coaching, but I'm sure it applies to all athletic careers. Really get into it and do it for a passion for sport and for a love of people. Athletics is often a very passionate group of people. A lot of us were athletes or love to compete or, get fired up with whatever it may be,
We never got fired up, Erin. Maury and I would never get fired
there's
up.
no passion in my office. It's very quiet.
No.
Exactly. Very quiet hallways,
No.
It's fun because you get, the opportunity to compete in different ways. You teach the game, you build great experiences for your athlete, for your community, for your fans. So it's something that, like, when you really love it, to me, it's so fun because you get to build the environment for your team. In any role that you may have, you're a piece of that, whether it's support staff or an ops manager, whatever, like you have the opportunity to come in, be great, love and challenge those people that you get to work with. When it's like they're doing great, praise them. When we need to learn, hey, let's help them, and then make the experience enjoyable, because then it makes it so much more enjoyable for you too as a coach. I love college coaching too, because I get to recruit the people that I want to work with, both
Right.
on my team, in my staff.
Yeah.
You get to essentially in some ways choose the athletic family that you want to be a part of, so that's one thing I love at Cortland too, like every day, from the coaches to the administrators to the athletes, it's just some place that I love to be. So it makes it like, really, it's not as much a job as just like, man, I love to be there. And there's days where it's hard for sure, but days where it's so fun.
Yeah. I think people say that too, like, and you think it's like cliche, like when you wake up and you love where you're going and you love what you're doing, it's not a job. But that's truly, that's sports. We're doing a lot of hard work. It's nights, weekends, long hours, travel, and if you don't have that passion, it's hard to do it.
Yeah,
It's hard
getting
to
in
be
those bus
successful.
trips, those van trips, it can be very difficult if you're not loving life at that moment.
Oh, yes. But you find ways to make it fun.
Exactly.
You gotta play a game or eat that sandwich that's been in that bus for a couple hours.
Don't do
or
that,
eat it.
please. We're not giving anybody that recommendation.
That's true.
Don't eat anything that was in a bus
Listen,
for more than.
with lacrosse, we used to pack them in the morning. We'd actually pick them up outside of Cortland, and I would hand out the sandwiches on the bus. And I'm pretty sure they were made hours before.
If you're watching, I'm making the throw up face right now. I could be throwing up.
Talk to any men's lacrosse player in the early 2000s, and they will tell you that was an experience.
Aaron probably did it too. Erin probably did it too. So
We've all been there at some point. We try to really fine tune our meal planning, but some days, like, we've planned meals where it's like, all right, we got to do this, we got to do that. Like, all right, we're just going to get it delivered to the gym. And then volleyball, you could play 3 sets or 5.
Exactly.
yeah.
So, like, sometimes we're in the middle of set 3 and it's like, all right, hey, run out there, sign for the food. We're just going to keep it here. Let's see if it stays hot. Like, been there.
You make it work. You make it work.
The nutrition, the way that people look at food now is very different than not a couple years ago. I feel like it's a whole new world now.
Oh, yeah.
That was
my
awesome.
God.
Okay,
Yeah.
number 4. Before I lose track,
Number
Jen's
4.
got to
Yes,
keep me on
Number
task.
4. I
We're
got
on
you. Number
4.
4.
Yeah, so this next one, I'm going to speak to a fear that I had beginning in college coaching. But what I'll say is you can coach and be a mom or raise a family. I'm not going to say
Let's
I've
go.
mastered
Say
it.
that again. Say that again. Let's go.
Yes, right? Like, it's definitely a challenge at times, but it's so worth it. My husband and I have 2 children. We're expecting our 3rd in February.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations. Yay. Oh.
Yeah, so it'll be a little bit more hectic, but it's always fun. And what I'd say is, like, don't let that fear you have, if you may have it in whatever parenting role it could be in the future, keep you out of working in college sports. If that's where your passion is and you have opportunities to do it, if there's ever a time you need to step away, I'm sure like, we're all athletes. We know how to adapt. You figure it out. But don't let that fear I think hold you back from like, oh, I don't want to do this, or I shouldn't do this kind of field because it is demanding, and it is, but I've been able to coach and really enjoy it, and create a balance with my family, and husband, and like what I know they need of me, while also getting to invest in and see like both my children and my players grow every day. So I love it.
Yeah.
But like, just know that it may look different throughout the year because athletics is a very seasonal career. You're going to have seasons that demand a lot of your time and energy, differently. And you can get, really good at managing that balance.
Yeah.
One thing I think I've found, especially now in like a head coaching role, is finding the like top 20% of driving actions you have to take in your role that are going to drive the 80% of results, and see if you can get really good at delegating and creating systems for some of the other stuff.
Right.
It's an investment of time up front, but it's definitely necessary, I think, to be able to play both those roles. And I think you'll start to find opportunities that you can with your family of like, okay, how can I maximize both of these roles as a parent and as a coach, or, working in athletics where, I can make it really fun for everybody.
I literally think that might be the best tip we've ever had. I know that's for me, but that's so important for people to hear, especially females that want to get into athletics. Because I think it is like a daunting thing, and you look at it and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if I can give 100% of myself at work, but 100% at home and be a good mom. Mm-hmm. And you can do that. And like, Erin, you're such a good example of that. And I'm so glad you said that, because again, I think females get scared of that and think, oh, I can't get a high level position, like be an athletic director or be a GM of a professional team or take on a leadership role, be a coach. I mean, we see it in the NFL and we see it in the NBA, like there's females getting into those roles and coaching. Like, that's so important that you can do both. And yes, it's an investment of time, but you can do it. So that like makes me so happy. Like, I'm like emotional now that you said, like, it just makes me so happy that you said that. So,
and I think the great part about it too is on my side of having kids, like my son came out the other day and helped me set up and did stuff, and it becomes a part of your family life.
Right. Right.
It does have, you have to keep that divide and keep that area, but an opportunity for you to share this with your kids. I know your kids are a little younger, and but then you get into that tipping point where it's like, well, I'm sure all your players, know who your kids are.
Oh,
and your staff.
Got a couple babysitters in there.
Exactly.
They're a part of the culture of your community, and that should be forward. What's up front, that shouldn't stop you from being successful. That should be a driving factor in it. It's so great that you recognize that and you're telling other people, because Jen's right. I don't think that's encouraged enough.
It's definitely not. So I'm so glad you said that. And I'm so happy that you're so successful in what you're doing and that you have 2 beautiful babies and another one on the way. Oh my God, I might cry. That's so amazing. Do you know what you're having?
No, so everyone, we've kept it a surprise.
Oh, okay. You don't have to tell the podcast listeners.
Well, no, I don't even know.
Oh, okay.
We love to wait till the end. Yes.
All right. We're going to have to follow up and let everybody know.
We'll find out.
It kind of surprised me because Erin's so planned out with everything. So that means that she is giving herself the ultimate surprise, which is not normally the personality what I remember her from.
But it goes back to what she said. You got to do some things that scare you, and that probably scares you.
It is, but honestly, in some ways too, it helps because I don't overplan. Oh, I need to get all this for the girl and this. It was honestly easier to start. It's like, all right, perfect, neutral. Yeah. Okay, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That is so exciting. Well, congratulations, Erin.
Yeah, congrats. Thank you. Super excited for you.
Yes.
Okay, right. Jen, last question.
All right, last question. So, Erin, what do you know now that you wish you knew then? So what do you know now at this point in your career that you wish you knew when you first started?
Yeah, so this one was a hard one, but I think something I would say is if you love athletics, and like me, even in playing high school sports, if you think like, oh, this is something I could maybe see myself doing, start building your network and experiences in high school and college. I think I didn't do that enough especially through college. Like I would coach camps, but some of it was just like, hey, how can I make money in the summer?
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of having the intention of like, okay, how can I, be intentional building my network or taking more opportunities here or just like getting to know people. I think it's sometimes a college student athlete, you get so overwhelmed with everything between school and time demands and this, where it's like, I just am like in my lane and I need to survive. Instead of seeing it more as like, okay, you know what, if I know I love athletics and this could be a field I'm interested in, like taking every opportunity to get to know the people around you.
Yeah.
Don't be the person that maybe everybody else is at times, like be the person that you want to be. And, sometimes as an 18-year-old, that's tough to think about then. But like, don't be afraid to ask great people in your field of just like, hey, can I shadow you? Like,
right.
I'm sure as a college kid, I mean, if anyone reached out to me and they said, hey, can I come and watch a practice or can I do this? I'd say, yeah, great. Come on in, get to know them. And I think as we get older too, it's like feels harder to do that.
Yeah.
So almost like when you're young, like just take advantage of that.
Take it when it's easy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think it goes back to something else that you said too. Like, first of all, it's never going to hurt you, right? Like if you go and you're not sure, but that whole time in your life where you kind of knew you had interest, but you're not sure, one, it could help you kind of figure that out because you're getting an idea of what it really is. Yep. And two, like, maybe you become a business person or do something else. And those relationships are just something that you're going to go back to. I mean, honestly, I didn't realize I was going to be in athletics. That's not the way I approached my time in college, but I made a lot of relationships. It ended up leading to a career for me. But, I can only imagine that those people that didn't go into athletics, I still have relationships with them and we talk about things or things come up. So it's such a valuable part of the experience as a college student athlete. It's something that not everyone has access to either.
And that's what I was going to say. I mean, as a college athlete, you have unprecedented access, different than any other normal student at whatever university you're going to. So, you have the access to the different folks in the department and you work with different people, whether it's from an athletic communication side of things or a facility side of things. Like even if you ask some questions, like, or if what's the worst they're going to say? No. Like, okay, you move on to the next thing, So take advantage of that. I think that, again, people, especially student athletes, don't think about it because they're so focused on, okay, when's the next game? When's the next practice? I got to get to here and training and workout. And there's not a thought about other outside of your sport. So that's a really good point.
And your coaches are such a good resource. Like you said, just connect with them, find out. And, you might find something you might not be surprised about. I think about some of the student athletes that we engage with that just come over and be like, why do you guys do things that way? Like I've had these conversations and those kids are the ones that I remember, like when they come back to campus and talk to us, I'd be like, wow, he always asks or she asks good questions. And, usually you can tell they're successful people afterwards. So great tip.
That's another one of the being uncomfortable is like, I feel like now in any situation, I'm like, all right, I got to ask some intentional question.
Yeah.
It's just funny because it makes you so much more engaged, but then you just like actually go out of your zone to learn a little bit more, and I'll go in and I've met with like coaches our different sports at Cortland or other places and just say like, hey, what do you do for recruiting here? What do you do for team building here? Or how do you manage this part of your program? So it doesn't just have to be in your own sport field either.
Yeah, that's such a good point too. You can learn so much from other coaches, So
well, Erin, awesome job. Thank you so much.
I learned so much. I'm going to go make myself uncomfortable tomorrow. Literally, that's going to be my job tomorrow. You almost made
Jen cry. She's going to be uncomfortable tomorrow. You've hit every key bell that is a Jen thing.
Every emotion. It's been great, Erin. This is fantastic.
Well, congratulations on the baby. We'll be very excited to see.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll catch up with you in the off season as maybe before the baby's born, or we'll get to see the baby after.
Definitely.
because we know
Come up
that
and visit. Come up and
Oh,
visit
I will.
too.
I know.
just the pure fact that you're doing this during volleyball season is very appreciated by us. So thank you for taking the time.
Of course. No, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. And I grew already. Like I can do this again, you know? Like,
there you go.
We'll
get you on a repeat episode.
There you go.
Well, Erin, thank you so much. We're so happy that we got to do this, and good luck with the rest of your season. And
thank you.
It'll be great. I'm glad we got to do this. We miss you.
We miss you too.
Well, thanks everyone for joining the podcast. Make sure to follow Jen. Throw those socials out.
Yeah, make sure you follow us on all your social platforms at Ath Career Pod. So on Instagram and X and TikTok and Facebook and all the works. You know, we're everywhere. So make sure you're following us. And yeah, we appreciate all the support. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody, and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. If you like the 5 Tips and Tricks podcast, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can rate and review us, including questions that may be answered on future episodes. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast for careers in athletics is part of Athletic Career Consulting. Check us out at www.athcareer.com. Don't forget to follow and like us on your top social media platforms.